What's going on, Whisper Nation? Happy Friday. It is November 19th. You're with the Fantasy Whisperers, and we're about to jump into our news and notes from around the NFL. That means we're going to be jumping into any updates that could have an impact on your fantasy weekend. We're going to go over those updates, the implications, and alternatives, as well as answer all of your start-sit questions, trade questions, all that good stuff here on the Fantasy Whisperers. Let's get to it. Let's bring the rest of the guys. What's going on, gentlemen? We've got Big Travie over there. You can find him on Twitter at Big Travie TFW. And of course, Johnny Game Time Hicks, the man in the bottom box. You can catch him on Twitter at Johnny_Jawline. Or maybe
no. No, that is. Can you guys hear me?
He's still working on it. Oh, we can hear you.
Oh, we can hear everything, dude.
Everything projects out of that jawline just so crisp. Comes out,
bro.
So clear.
All right.
Well,
good,
for the uninitiated, we've got just a diamond of a jawline down there at the bottom, and Whisper Nation has started to take notice, and we're kind of forcing Johnny to take notice here as well. And dude, that guy's been eating almonds like at a ferocious pace his entire life. Like, do. It's just crazy. It's like a wood chipper up in there. But we are very excited to have Jawline Game Time with us, Johnny, Big Travie. Guys, we're going to just go ahead and jump straight into it here. We had a Thursday night game last night. Mac Jones, Bill Belichick, and the Patriots really having their way with the Atlanta Falcons. I saw the first time the Falcons have been shut out since 1988. Jeez. Ooh. For initial thoughts, Johnny, just 24 hours ago, less than that.
This offense looks really bad, and we don't know when we're going to get Calvin Ridley back. Obviously, this defense is really good. We talked about this defense being really good and Bill Belichick really coaching it up. And over the last, especially over the last couple of weeks, they've really notched it up even more. They're looking like a really good team. That's a good defense, and I'm worried about the Falcons. Obviously, no Patterson as well. The fantasy glitch out with a high ankle sprain, so that didn't bode well either.
Travie, you had given Slim Reaper here some strong advice. He's giving you a shout out here. And shout out to Slim Reaper for jumping in. Shout out Eagle Fang. Chris Hannon, what's up, my dudes? But great call here, Travie. We talked about Bill Belichick's ability to kind of blanket and eliminate possibly your offense's best weapon, and Pitts, that's him. That's his role. You talked Slim Reaper out of starting Pitts, and that looked like a good call, Travie.
Yeah, I mean, right now we'll see how it goes. It's about 5 points in PPR, so anything could happen. Tight end position's volatile. But as we said, if Bill Belichick only had to focus on one guy, and that was Pitts, and that's what he did. So, no Ridley, as Johnny was saying. We're seeing this across the league with tight ends, like when they're able to take away your best threat, and it is the tight end, it's a lot easier for them. They can shadow some coverage there. They can bracket it down and take that away. And they definitely were able to do that last night with just not a lot going for the Falcons outside of Pitts in the passing game.
Great touch on there. We're going to touch into a couple more points here, but Trav, you talked to us about focusing on one dude, and I can't think of a more appropriate time to focus on you right now because it's your birthday.
Hey,
happy birthday, Travis.
Yeah, man. Yeah, big old 32 today. So I actually had to look it up, dude. I couldn't remember. The last 2 years have been so crazy. I couldn't remember if I was 32 or 33 today. But yeah, 32 and feeling good, man. Feeling loved. Feeling, I was thinking, man. I started to say it sarcastically. I'm like, there's no place I'd rather be than on here with Whisper Nation. Like on my birthday. That sounds great. And then I got to run to my day job after this. And then I was like, actually, there is no other place I'd rather be than with the two of you talking ball with Whisper Nation. I love the community we've built here over the last just couple weeks. It's just been really nice to see this community explode and to know that we had our fingerprints on building that community and helping it be a space where people can come in and talk. And we were talking off air on, what do you focus on for your birthday? And for me, it's like, how many people have I affected in positive way that want to come back and reach out and show some love. So could think of nothing better than to hop on here, give some advice, and hopefully get Whisper Nation some dubs, man.
Man, great words from a great man. Happy
dubs.
Birthday again. Eat them up. Enjoy it. Well, I know that the Falcons weren't enjoying their time last night, as we mentioned. I wanted to just jump into a couple other points here. Matt Ryan, 19 for 28, only 153 yards, 2 interceptions. You love that. Josh Rosen got a little bit of work over there. In the rushing game, we talked about Mike Davis. We talked about Wayne Gallman. They had a combined -2 yards. Like, holy
so
shit.
Bad.
What?
So bad.
We weren't stoked on it, but like, I didn't know it was going to be a horror movie. Like, that's
right.
crazy.
Exactly.
We're past Halloween, man. Now it's supposed to be the Warm and Fuzzies, and it was not. It was a horror show on the Atlanta Falcons side. Quadre Olison led the team with 9 carries and 30.
Yeah, Quad.
Everybody knew that was coming.
The preseason darling.
The preseason darling, making his way back. Trav, I'll give myself a quick shout out. We had a great question on the show yesterday about, hey, pick a sleeper in the Thursday night. I like that question too. I think I want to bring it up for future episodes. I gave a shout out to Russell Gage. Not that he did great, but he led the team with 49 yards and 5 receptions.
Yeah, he was the best player on the team, and that tells you all you need to know about what the Falcons put on the field last night.
Yeah, and my other pick on the other side was Ramondre Stevenson. Him and Damien Harris were pretty efficient with their work. The latter there in Harris had 10 carries for 56 yards for 5.6 yards a carry, but it was Ramondre Stevenson who led the Patriots with 12 carries, 69 yards. Nice. 5.8 average. And he looked good, and they went to him early and often, and it's definitely a mix. Brandon Bolden and Kendrick Bourne both got a carry apiece. But I wanted to get your thoughts here, Travi, on the backfield of New England moving forward. We've been talking a lot about this. You and I have made some trades, had a lot of movement in our own league of record. What are you thinking about Ramondre Stevenson and Damien Harris moving forward?
This is a little tough, man. This is not good to see. So what I really don't like about this is it confirms the false narrative of Bellatrix and like, oh my God, I don't want to touch this backfield because we'll never know. And it's like, yeah, when he does stuff like this, you're never going to know. But I don't think he does this all the time. And people were kind of letting that be a reason why they wouldn't invest in this backfield and maybe missed out on the touchdowns that Damien Harris got them earlier this year. Now, that being said, I am concerned for Damien Harris going forward. I will say it was nice to see him get used in the passing game. He did get a reception in this game. I mean, it's not a crazy amount, but it's like it's nice to see that they're willing to use both of these guys in the same fashion. But 12 carries, just about the same amount of snaps, for Stevenson versus Harris. This is something that's probably going to continue for them. But I will say there's a silver lining here because it could kind of be a poor man's version of the Browns or a poor man's version of the Saints a couple years ago where this team's going to run so much. We talked about it on the show. Like, they don't want to put the ball in Mac Jones' hand to win games. They want to rely on the run game, rely on that defense. So if they're going to get 10 to 12 carries a game, each of them, that's going to have some value, especially in games where they have positive game script. When we look down the schedule here for the Patriots, they have Tennessee and Buffalo, so not exactly positive game script, but then Indy, Buffalo, Jacksonville in the playoffs. So Indy and Jacksonville are games I'm confident in the Patriots to be able to be up in, have positive game script in. And so that's a situation where I think we like their playoff schedules. We can have a little bit of confidence, but I wouldn't have the same amount of confidence in Damien Harris that I had to start the year. That's what I would say.
My last question on this for you, Travis. Quick one. Next week, if it stays how it is right now, no new information updates, who are you starting at running back, Damien Harris or Ramondre Stevenson next week for the Patriots?
I'd want to see the line on this, not to tap out to Vegas Travi, but I don't know who they're going to have favored in this game. Tennessee, the best team in the AFC, best team by record in the AFC right now. But I don't know if there is a good team, a really, really good team right now. Everybody's kind of jumbling around.
Sure.
So if the Patriots are favored, I think I'd go with a Damien Harris here. But if they're not favored, I think Stevenson has the better shot at pass catching work to float his baseline here. And I think that's how I'd attack it each and every week.
Float his boat.
Yeah. So I would kind of try to avoid, though, until we see a little bit more. But I understand we're in that last month. It's going to be hard to do that.
I think I'm just going to go Ramondre. I think I'm going to just,
definitely has more upside, I think, at this point, just because he's the better receiving prospect out of college. He's been used more as a receiver this year. And I think that alone is going to give him a little bit more upside.
Yeah. We'll move on, and I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about this backfield upcoming. Johnny, when we move on to our first team on the docket, it's going to be the Arizona Cardinals. But before we get there, I wanted to see if you had any other thoughts you wanted to share about the Falcons or the Patriots or Thursday Night Football from last night.
No.
All right, then let's get the freaking Cardinals talk. Before we do, hey, Slim Reaper there coming in. I think I got this one. Corey there. Nick says those backups really made Ryan look good, man. Tough to watch. You see that part where he was like the players on offense for the Falcons didn't know the play, and so he had to like come over and like verbally whisper it to him. Like it's like, oh,
this is a great. So did you guys know last week Matt Ryan, because of the blowout, was the 34th ranked QB on the week?
When there's 32 teams and
there's 32 teams. Well, this week he's going to probably do it again because they had both backups come into last night's game.
Oh my god!
But they threw picks, so I don't know.
Yeah. So, Whisper Nation, we're coming in here. Truly Epic's giving us an update. Love to see these ones. If you got questions, bring them to us. We're going to get to all of them at the end of the show, but if there is a fantasy relevant question that comes into the subject that we're discussing at that time, we will do our best to weave it in at that present moment. But bring the questions to us. We're going to get to all of them. And if you're short on time or you just want to get your question answered right away, hit us with that super chat and we will get your question answered right away. And still shout out to Kevin. Johnny and I missed one last week, and I don't still felt really bad about that one.
Matt. He's good. I've reached out to him. He's good.
Okay, cool. You did. Fantastic. Right on. Well, I'm glad to know Matt's good. We're good. Johnny, I want to know if the Cardinals are going to be good, though. We got DeAndre Hopkins, who has already been ruled out, so we could take him out of our lineups and hope for the best in week 12. Kyler Murray, though, is still being listed as a game-time decision. He participated in practice through the week. Would have gotten the green light already if Arizona's bye week was not right around the corner in week 12, but this poses a little bit of a complication. How are you looking at it with Kyler Murray and the rest of the impacts this could have on the Arizona Cardinals offense?
Yeah, clearly you don't want Colt McCoy in there for this offense. It's definitely, and he might still be dealing with an injury as well, but I do think that Kyler does play. Listening to him, hearing some things, it's basically up to him. Team will allow him to make his own decision. That's how it's been so far the last 2 games. It's been up to Kyler. So we know that Kyler didn't feel comfortable enough playing in the last 2 weeks on that ankle, but he is, and the team doctors have told him that it's not going to get worse. It's going, like, he can play on it, and he should be fine. It's just going to, time will continue to heal it. Now, again, with the bye next week, it will be interesting to see if he does say, okay, I'll sit one more, and then that gives him a full month of rest on it, which would be good for him. But again, this is a big, especially because looking at a division where, the Rams are on a bye. They need to win. The Cardinals do. And you're looking at Seattle. If Seattle wins this game, guys, they're like back in this playoff hunt with the rest of these teams. But if they lose, they're basically out of it. So it's a kind of a pivotal game. So I would expect Kyler to play. And then you're talking about pass catchers. I think Kirk is very upgrade to Kirk. Obviously, Hopkins is out. He's already been ruled out for this game. So and then even potentially AJ Green, if you want to play him, I think he becomes a little bit interesting as well.
Right on, man.
I wanted to shout out Truly Epic, who's in here dropping some of these updates for us.
Yes.
Big ups here. He's dropped in the Mitchell updates, the Bateman updates. We're obviously going to get to those too, but we appreciate Truly Epic we appreciate all of Whisper Nation in there in the chat, making it live every single week. So
yeah,
love you guys.
Yeah, and especially with those live updates, Truly Epic is talking about Rashad Bateman, rookie wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. And Travis, the Baltimore Ravens are our next team to talk about here. There's the update about Bateman. You like that, especially considering Marquis Brown remained sidelined yesterday. Back-to-back did not practices. You never like to see that no matter who you are. Also for a speed-based wide receiver dealing with a lower body issue, you really don't like to see that. Kind of a murky outlook. We don't really know. We don't know a ton of information. It could be a strain. It could be a contusion. We just don't know. We also know that Lamar Jackson is sick with it. He's also ill. He's physically ill. He's dealing with a bug or something.
Get sick when you're the illest.
Yeah, but he did somehow manage to make that happen. He's not feeling super hot. He missed practice on Wednesday and Thursday, non-COVID. Hopefully he got his echinacea or whatever it was, and he's going to be in. What do you think about Lamar Jackson? Does it bring it down at all? Any concerns there? And then how are you factoring in Marquis Brown's leg bruise, Rashad Bateman, and the rest of the play catchers? Also, I'll tag you in for the backfield here once you get through that meaty stack in front of you.
Yeah, so I think we're okay. We saw Marquis Brown come back to practice today. We obviously got Lamar back. We got Bateman working on, participating in Friday's practice as well. So for me, it's fire them up, because Chicago is top 3 in points allowed to the wide receiver position with 27.1. Their defense has not been what it used to be. Khalil Mack is now going to have season-ending surgery. So things are working in the favor of Baltimore in a get-right game. Remember, just 10 days ago, or about 10 days by the time the game starts, they were in a game where they got kind of embarrassed by Miami on Thursday night. I think this will be a good spot for that entire offense, and I like all of them in this one. I think that Bateman becomes a wide receiver 2/3 flex-ish play. And then we have Marquis Brown, I think, continues his wide receiver 1 ways. Remember, guys, he's had 12 or more targets in the last 3 games. Like, he's continuously being a target monster in this offense. He's just been there have been games where he hasn't been on the same page as Lamar, but the targets are there. And then you asked about the backfield. I think Freeman is still the play here. I know that Latavius Murray came back, and I know that they cut Le'Veon Bell, but Freeman is the one they've been using in the passing game, and I think that would be the play here if you're desperate for running back, which, hey, we're playing fantasy football in the middle of November. We're definitely desperate for running back. Like, that's what's happening here. Then Freeman becomes a low-end RB3, with RB2 upside.
Got Strodenite's question answered. Good take on this one. And, we moved on from the Thursday night, but I got to get Brett Johnson's comment up here. For those keeping track at home, starting Wayne Gallman was the wrong decision, who he had put in his active lineup in our league of record. That was
a little bit. To be fair, he had to do that. Like,
it was either Wayne Gallman or Singletary against Indianapolis Colts, who have just been just shutting down running backs. So it's like, and he's in a 3.
And I was wondering,
Singletary. The answer is Singletary.
No way,
now, hindsight 2020.
No. Wayne Gallman. You got Mike Davis. You don't know. You got Wayne Gallman. You got the Patriots. You got
exactly. You have Mike Davis, who you didn't know.
There's more. There's more body. There's Matt Breida, who got involved last week. Like, there's more bodies in his way. Quadri Olson wasn't even on the radar for this game. So looking back after Thursday's game and saying it was the right answer, of course. Of course, it looks good now. We had 15 carries for Wayne Gallman. And yes, some of those were in the blowout, but not all of them.
Good. Sorry, Brett.
Like, that's just the situation you're in when you're deciding between those 2 running backs. The floor is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Moving on to the Carolina Panthers. Johnny, we got a new starting quarterback for the Panthers. We got Cam Newton. He's going to take the first snap, but PJ Walker will probably play. How are you shaking this out? What are the impacts to DJ Moore? Christian McCaffrey, also hamstring, not listed on the Panthers injury report. We'd love to see that. What's your take on the Panthers right now with this quarterback switch up?
I mean, it's probably going to run more passing as they continue to get Cam more and more involved in this offense until he learns the full thing. They want to on the field. They'll probably see goal line work as did last week. So I toss it to you guys. Like, start him knowing that probably play, I would guess, 20% of snaps. And PJ will probably play 80 or maybe it's 70-30. But the majority of the snaps that Cam will play are going to be running where he's going to run. And then obviously around the goal line. And like, he might have a little bit of passing work, I would expect. But, I mean, that's what I would foreshadow. So I think if you're in a spot where you need a what the heck in a super flex league, you probably could do worse, but it's going to be risky. Like, it's going to be risky, but there's upside there because of where he will be used and what he does when he is going to be used. Like, he's going to run the ball, one of the most effective ways for a quarterback to pick up yards or points.
Yeah, I don't. There's no way I'm starting Cam Newton in this game. There's Jimmy G. There's Tua. There's other options for me to go to on the waiver, most likely.
I'm not saying he's a high one, but I'm saying if you need him, like if you picked him up,
I would play Justin Fields, Cam Newton. I'm playing like pretty much. I would have played Mac Jones, even though he didn't do well. Like, Mac Jones would have been a preferred start to Cam Newton this week as well.
Most definitely on this one, real quick, because we're in the listener league, is a super flex league. Would you rather start Cam Newton in the super flex option or say a wide receiver flex?
I'd probably start Cam Newton.
See?
Like that's like, in a super flex where it's the last quarterback available, like a 14-team super flex, like our listener league. Sure. Yeah, I think
AJ Green or Cam Newton in the super flex spot. Christian Kirk, Cam Newton, my last one.
Oh, I don't. If Kyler plays, then I'd say probably Christian Kirk, but especially with
Colt McCoy or Cam Newton. If Murray doesn't play,
I'm gonna say Cam Newton only because Seattle's strength of their defense right now is the secondary.
I'm taking Colt just because I could see a world where Cam gets 5 snaps, and that's it.
The over-under is really nice in that game. So maybe
one more. Here's one more. Ben Roethlisberger or the
Ben gonna play? I don't even know.
I don't know
if Ben's in. If Ben's in, I'm going Ben for the exact same reason. I don't think Ben is going to lose snaps. But Cam might get 5 snaps. And that's it.
I mean, are they really going to do the 30-70 to PJ Walker? I really feel like they're not going to do that. But I don't know.
Why?
So we don't know. There's so many questions. We got to see.
What do you think it's going to be? 50-50?
No, I actually think Cam's going to do a lot in this game. Take the first rep, probably. I mean, unless he starts falling apart at the hinges, I think he probably dominates snaps in this game. That would be my bet. That would be my inclination.
They want him to play. They don't go out and pick him up and have all this emotional, all this stuff if you don't want him to be the dude.
No, I know they paid him. I mean, they paid him $10 million to come, get off the couch and come play. So yeah, they definitely want him to play. But again,
well, technically, we can't look at the money they're playing, Johnny, because they're also paying the other guys that were supposed to replace him.
That
was a joke. I'm just
saying the human centipede situation.
Learning a playbook is very, very difficult, and so that's why it takes so long to learn it.
Sure. We are going to be watching on Sunday. It's true. I wonder. We'll see how this works out, and a lot of question marks we hope to have answered out of Carolina and Cam Newton coming up on Sunday. Big Travi, another question mark that we've got is dealing with the Chicago Bears. You talked about Justin Fields a little bit. I want to talk about who we thought was going to be his number 1 option, but he isn't. That's Allen Robinson, dealing with a hamstring, did not practice on Thursday for the 2nd consecutive day. We haven't been stoked on Allen Robinson. I don't know if Justin Fields has either, with Darnell Mooney getting more looks. We weren't strong on Allen Robinson anyways. This is just even more reason to fade him or drop him. Or how far off of Allen Robinson are you this week and moving forward?
Oh, I was off when we got into it. This is just helping us be more off, dude. So I'm with you. I do think Baltimore's been a little bit susceptible to the pass and on defense. And what we've noticed is they've actually become a top 10 option for our fantasy quarterbacks to go up against. So I think some of that is going to be with Darnell Mooney this week, especially if Robinson goes. I like Mooney on our flex radar. I like him more as a wide receiver 3 if Allen Robinson were to miss this game. And it doesn't look good. I don't know if he got practice in today, but he didn't practice at all as of yesterday. So.
Right. And the Bears coming off that bye as well. Interested to watch Justin Fields play. Been a little bit of an uptick. We'll see. Johnny, talking about your boy here now in Cleveland, Baker Mayfield. It looks like he's going to play. Kevin Stefanski said that is exactly what's going to happen. Shoulder, foot, and knees, heads, and toes won't stop Baker Mayfield, who's going up this week. Looks like Nick Chubb is going to be around as well. That's good news. Activated Nick Chubb from the reserve COVID-19 list. Imagine we're starting Nick Chubb. That should happen. Any feelers on the pass catchers this week? Donovan Peoples-Jones, Jarvis Landry. What's your temperature read on the other pieces of the offense?
Jarvis, it would be interesting in this one just because of how they should play. Obviously, Baker's banged up, so you don't love that situation. I don't want to play Baker because of that injury. You never know when he could come out. Watch, he's going to have a baller game now because I say this. But no, with him dealing with an injured shoulder, all that stuff, I'm not looking to play him right now, and a somewhat difficult matchup that on paper. But again, if they're going to attack this defense, they're going to do it with the quick, with juice, with Sanders. So, or not Sanders, but yeah, you get the point.
We get the point. Yeah. And I think that the Dallas Cowboys, their point that they're making right now is CeeDee Lamb is going to be getting in the slot position. Travis, Athletics' Bob Strum reported that when Michael Gallup plays, CeeDee Lamb will operate as the Cowboys' primary slot receiver. He adds, you will find no more lethal inside receiver in the NFL than Lamb. He is a mismatch nightmare against slot corners. I know you've been a big fan of the Dallas Cowboys offense, Travi. Does this news change anything for you? Your excitement levels for CeeDee or any of the other pass catchers coming in?
No, I mean, Lamb is, our first example of him playing, he played a lot in the slot last year, but our first example this year in this offense of him playing in the slot majority of the time was last week, at least at the full strength of this offense. And he scored 2 touchdowns, and both of those were from the slot. So yeah, that's they're they're tooting their own horn there, but they're not far off base saying that CeeDee Lamb is an absolute nightmare in the slot for people. So this is good news for Lamb owners that were kind of pissed off, I guess, at his inconsistency earlier this year, because I think he remains way more consistent down the stretch if Gallup stays healthy and they can run the 3 wide receiver sets that they want to.
Yeah, I like that take with it. Like CeeDee Lamb is the tip of the spear for him, and everybody else is like that supportive metal behind him, reinforcing. Gonna get you right there. Speaking of tip of the spear, Johnny, the Detroit Lions are getting theirs back with Jamal Williams likely going to be playing, and Jared Goff will not. We've got exciting news with Tim Boyle is going to start in week 11.
Yeah, Tim Boyle or Cam Newton.
Cam Newton.
I'm going to go. You got me on that.
Cleveland giving up the most fantasy points to quarterbacks over the last 3 weeks. I know, I'm just joking. Well,
but
Cleveland has been giving up. No,
that,
I'm not joking about Cleveland's.
But again, 14-team Superflex league. Maybe Boyle's worth it.
Maybe you won't, but I mean, that's fine. They'll use them, especially if Boyle is.
DeAndre Swift is going to kick ass, though. Jamal Williams being involved. That wasn't a problem, right?
Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah. He's going to. I mean, we saw the backup running back come in and get some carry, and still Swift's going to get a workload. I'm expecting probably 20 to 25 touches, maybe more, but Williams will also get probably 10 touches.
I guess it doesn't really have any impact on anything. Like if you're going to consider flexing Jamal Williams, now that option is available for you. You're probably just a little bit more excited about DeAndre Swift. Hawkinson, you're riding that up and down. I actually think Tim Boyle might be a blessing for Hawkinson. You oftentimes see these inexperienced quarterbacks come in and have a safety blanket tight end approach. Yeah. So, we'll see how that happens. It's not really changing anything. You're still starting the defense going against Detroit pretty much every week. So I guess we could just go ahead and move on. This is a relevant question, though. I wanted to ask this one from Mr. Miyagi. Who do you handcuff more, Monty or Swift? Drop Carolina, Dean, Alex Collins. Should I pick a bold? I'd pick Khalil Herbert for Monty. We saw him do really well. Do you guys disagree?
No, I like that call.
Yeah.
When he came in, he got the entire workload when he came in. So,
yeah. All right. Moving on to Travi, our Green Bay Packers, where our boy Aaron Rodgers did not practice on Thursday. We know he's still been a little bit fatigued with coming back from COVID. Now he's got a toe issue, but he's going to play. I just don't know how well he's going to play. Like, he's kicked ass hardcore this season. He's also dropped the ball both on the field and off the field in a couple of ways. What's your gut feeling after receiving this news, Travi?
This is a tough one. This feels like a little bit of a trap game for our Packers. We have the Rams on the other side of this game. We're only favored by 2.5 on the road in Minnesota. Minnesota has played, basically they played everyone to the limit that they've played. Their losses have come by, not very much. They've played tough teams, and they're a good offense. Mike Zimmer historically plays Aaron Rodgers really well, and that's one of the defensive coordinators he respects the most. It just feels like a game where, like, if I could get a Justin Fields or not a Justin Fields, a Jalen Hurts or a Joe Burrow or somebody else that's a low-end QB1 in my lineup ahead of him, I probably would, just because of the toe, could limit mobility. But again, this is an offense that's just taking what the defense gives them. They're not doing what they did last year, where they were a hyper-efficient, aggressive offense that scored a lot of touchdowns. They're just winning football games, and they're playing winning football. And sometimes that spells not great for our fantasy teams or our fantasy players, and that's kind of the situation Rodgers is in this year. We'll have good weeks, and this is a good environment. It's got a high over-under, but it just doesn't feel right, I guess, is my last point there.
Truly Epic wants to know too, or Aaron Rodgers, Travi?
Yeah, I'd take Aaron Rodgers here, but it's definitely getting close to that borderline. The reason I'd take Burrow is he has a better offense, in my opinion, more weapons. No, I was saying names that I was saying earlier. I wouldn't take Tua here. I would still take Rodgers.
Gotcha. And you're asking for a friend here, Rodgers over Fields?
Yeah, I think I'd go Rodgers still. I know the matchup's kind of nice, but it's about the offense. Yeah. And if Robinson isn't even going to be there, and I don't know, I feel like it'd just be a run game for the Bears. That's what they're going to try and do against Baltimore. And
they might want to do that.
Yeah.
We'll be watching and finding out. Johnny, I want to find out more a little bit about James Robinson, running back for the Jaguars. He had some non-practice non-appearances, whatever, you know what I'm saying. Dealing with a heel, as we know, but a knee now is popping up as well for James Robinson. Any insights on his viability coming up this weekend?
I don't have any true indication on whether or not he sits or not this so far for this weekend, but it is that it's a different injury to me. So again, watch him. We'll see. We'll get some indication tomorrow whether or not he is trending up or not. If he doesn't go, then if you need a what the heck flex, then Carlos Hyde once again, because we know he's going to get a bulk of carries. But once again, if he does play, I expect him to get the bulk of the workload because they wouldn't play him unless they wanted to utilize him in that way. So
Good point there with Hyde. If he's in, the volume for him will be turned up. I just don't know if you're going to like the song coming out of the speakers with all that high volume. But it's going to be loud. Travi, let's move on and talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. They had a get-right game. Last week you talked about the AFC struggle, and it was such a it's a kind of a grab bag, but I see the Chiefs are in a spot. I'm wondering if they're back to being almost the favorites because it's just such a muddled field. The Buffalo Bills are muddled. The Tennessee Titans are the best, but they're not. Johnny's smirking down there about the Chiefs, but it's a fair question here. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on his way back, but again, Andy Reid would not say whether or not he would be active for Week 11 against the Cowboys. He had a good week, but maybe not a good enough one to actually start. What's your outlook here for the Kansas City Chiefs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and any other impacts we should be keeping an eye out for on Sunday?
Yeah, I don't want to try and be too much of a fortune teller here. I have no idea if they'll play CH or not. Based on what happened earlier in the week, the report was, oh my God, he said that they could give him another week of rest. Well, actually, they framed the question as, would you guys be willing to give another week of rest to CEH? And Andy Reid said, that's something that we could do. We want to see how he practiced first. Then he practiced this week, and they said he had a good week of practice, and people are like, oh, it's still uncertain. Well, you don't have to give a designation for somebody on IR. So we'll know more tomorrow when they decide if they're going to activate him or not off of IR. And so that's the situation we're at with CEH. If I'm the Chiefs and I'm desperate for wins, I'm activating CEH for this game because we're playing Cowboys and we need all the weapons we can get. Now, they seem to be okay with whatever back they throw in there week to week, and Darrell Williams has done fine, especially last week, had his best game of the year. So we'll just see what they end up doing. You know, running back's one of the positions they, end up not caring about the most, but they also did draft CH in the first round to be a weapon in this offense. So I don't have an indication whether he'll play or not. You're obviously playing Darrell Williams if he doesn't. I guess I'd pitch it back to you guys to say, like, if he is activated, would you still play him? Would you play Darrell? What's your take there?
CH is active. I'd play him just because he's been out for so long. They're on the up. I don't think they would put him in unless they felt that he could get through this game without re-aggravation.
Yeah, I don't play. I don't know if I play either one, to be honest with you. If CH is active, because I don't know what the true workload is going to be. There are some indications that Damien has done or Darrell has done enough to keep the receiving work, and he's looked very good receiving. So he even told Pat that he is a receiving running back. And so it will be interesting to see how they do that split, because once again, we know that Andy Reid typically has split up that backfield. So
you love that narrative. You love that. Yeah, maybe.
What narrative?
On the Andy Reid running out committees approach.
Yeah, which he does do. He has a tendency to do so, and he was doing that even before CH went down. Darrell was getting the goal line work and some of the receiving work, and CH was getting the bulk of the carries though. And so in some indications, like their offense has actually been better with Darrell. Darrell's actually performed better than CEH has this year from a fantasy perspective when he has started. So it will be interesting to see what they do moving forward.
Yeah, lots of ups and downs. And not to poke on you there about the Andy Reid, but Andy Reid does have a history of running committees, as you put. He also has a history of giving one back a lot of the workload, bell cow status or featured back at least on that one. So it could just go a lot of ways, I guess is my point in exploring these different avenues. And it's a great plug to say tune in an hour and a half before kickoff on Sunday for the Sunday Live lineup show, because we're talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Should you start him now or then? We might get a great piece of information that helps you get a clear answer later tonight or tomorrow.
I don't think he goes. I think they hold CH out. It's my gut feeling from what I'm getting.
That's why the tea leaves are looking. And then, yeah, just be sure to tune in on Sunday to get the most up-to-date report. So we've got all that information helping you set your lineups right before kickoff. That's 8:30 a.m. Pacific time on Sundays. And if you're liked and subscribed and you hit the bell, it'll just let you know when that's happening automatically. So what you waiting for? Yeah. Travis, here we've got Justin Herbert. He's been up and down. He was added to the injury report on Thursday with an oblique injury. He still practiced in full, but I know at least, baseball players with oblique injuries can be out 2 to 4 weeks. And I know from a quarterbacking position, there's a lot of oblique action that's happening. If you ever seen Dak Prescott warm up and move those hips. So are we just a little hesitant now with Justin Herbert? He's not 100%, but he's going to play. What are your thoughts right now?
The Chargers, man, it's really upsetting because there's so much potential with this offense. There's so much potential with Big Mike Williams. There's so much potential with Justin Herbert. But yeah, this is just another reason to not be excited about Justin Herbert this week, And so I think about guys I would start ahead of Herbert, and I think we go back to that. I'd be starting Aaron Rodgers. I'd be starting Joe Burrow ahead of Justin Herbert. I'd be starting Jalen Hurts, obviously, I think, because of the legs ahead of Justin Herbert. These are just guys in that low-end tier that I'm starting ahead because, yes, we talked about on the matchup show, Austin. You said, look, he's got these monster games, but those are kind of buoying his stats for end of year or at least season long. If we look game by game, he's been so much more inconsistent than we really want to talk about or have in our lineups. So, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned with Herbert and the upside of the offense. Not concerned with Austin Eckler, not concerned with Keenan Allen. They're going to stay locked into your lineups. They don't downgrade, but Mike Williams, even in a good spot here, would be a little bit of a concern if Herbert didn't go.
Great take on this one. Agree with it 100%. Another quarterback, Johnny, that we're worried about, or at least considering, is Taysom Hill, quarterback for the Saints, tight end, running back. He does so many things for them while doing almost nothing at all at the same time. He did not participate in Thursday's practice. This makes 2 in a row. I'm not sure how big of an impact this has given how Simeon's taken over, but it does mean something, and it could have an impact on the running game if he's in or if he's out, as will the news with Alvin Kamara. He's got an ankle, downgraded to did not practice. They're being super hush-hush about this. I think I heard you mention you're fearful it could be a high ankle that they're kind of exploring. What are your thoughts on the New Orleans Saints, on Alvin Kamara? Any impact Taysom Hill could make here? What do you think this week?
Kamara's, I believe, is a ACL sprain is what they're fearing, or that's what they've come out and said was an ACL
really?
sprain. Yeah,
I mean, it's labeled as an ankle on some side, a knee on others.
Yeah,
I don't think we know.
It's still murky.
I was following some beat reporters or looking into some beat reporters, and that's what they had. That's what they were saying was that it was considered, or that's what the team had feared. Anyway, whether it's if it's a high ankle or an, you almost would prefer that it's an ACL sprain because then it's only. Oh boys, we'll go ahead and jump into here. We got a Ric Flair.
We got this,
and then I'll finish my process there.
So we got Stephen Drake's coming in.
What up, Stephen Drake's?
What up, Stephen Drake's? Wants to know, should I just pick up high just in case? Also, how do you feel about Jeff Wilson, Brian Edwards, and Darnell Mooney this week? Well, let's go ahead and answer that question. But before we do,
we got to hit him.
Got to hit him with a Ric Flair. Woo! Let's go. All right, let's go. All right, Stephen Drake's. Appreciate you joining us. Appreciate the super chat. And great question here as well, boys. What do we think on this one? Should I pick up high just in case? He must have James Robinson as well. Let me make sure he didn't give me.
Yeah, so I think he's asking if he pick up Hyde, if he's got James Robinson. Like you said, Austin, I would do that if I had Robinson. I think he's a clear handcuff. We know he gets the work. He's definitely a watered down version, but we like that. We like him to get all the volume, especially in the passing game. They use him in the passing game quite a bit, just like they do Robinson. Asking how we feel about Jeff Wilson, Brian Edwards, and Mooney. So Brian Edwards is interesting. He's a hold at this point. I don't know if we can trust putting him into our lineups, but we want to see him get the Ruggs vacated 4 or 5 targets a game that were down the field. And last week he did that. He got 4 catches for 88 yards and a tutty. So we liked what we saw out of there because that's what we want for the big playability in this offense with Waller and Renfro handling underneath. as far as Mooney's concerned, like we said, if Robinson doesn't go, Mooney's in a really good spot here to soak up all of the work. And what I really like to see out of Mooney last week was red zone usage. He got the red zone touchdown last week. He's starting to heat up a little bit as Fields gets better too. And with a bye week to scheme all of that, I think that's a good spot. Wilson would only be the advised play, and he would be the advised play out of all three of these guys if Mitchell is inactive, and we're supposed to get a game time decision on Mitchell. So just keep monitoring that. But it does sound like the Niners are pretty hopeful that Mitchell's going to go, which is wild to me that you're going to fracture a finger, have surgery, and play all in the same week. So
yeah, that's.
You see maybe the glove, and they got the thing.
I'm guessing it. I keep saying this. It has to be not on the carrying hand. I don't see how you'd let him go if he had a fractured finger on his carrying hand and put the ball at risk there. You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe they're going to practice with it. Maybe they've got a contingency plan. Maybe it's like, hey, maybe it's more secure than we think that it is. But if that news is true and Elijah Mitchell is going to be out there, broken finger and all, Jeff Wilson is less desirable. Is that true?
No, Jeff Wilson. Oh, if he's out there, yeah. If Mitchell goes, Wilson. Yeah, I would start Mooney over these guys.
Okay, Mooney, Edwards, Jeff Wilson. But if Elijah Mitchell does sit, then Jeff Wilson, Mooney, Brian.
And I don't
Edwards.
know if you were necessarily asking this, but Hyde, I think, would be maybe the start over all of them. Because I think, he's going to be in line to get that James Robinson work, which is gross, but that's kind of where we're at with volume.
Yeah, Hyde would have the highest floor for sure. And if that volume is kind of crazy, and the Jags have been kind of doing some unexpected things a little bit, I think he actually has a sneakier high ceiling than we might expect. Right. Almost like similar to a Mark Ingram, but on a worse team. But with you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and an update here on the Niners too. Just throw this out there. It looks like JaMychal Hasty heading in the wrong direction to be activated for Sunday as well. So we'd have a less bodies there also for Wilson or Mitchell as well.
Jeez, let the bodies hit the flow.
Great questions, Steven. Thanks for being a part of the show.
So Johnny, I think we have to touch it back up on the Kamara situation, right?
Right. So Kamara, from what I was seeing, they were feeling it was an ACL sprain, which we've seen running backs, miss 3 to 4 weeks. We had Monty and CEH with that. The good news is that he could come back. It's not season ending. If it's a high ankle sprain, that's almost a little bit more concerning because that's what Michael Thomas had. That's what tends to linger longer into the season. That's what Chase Edmonds has currently right now. And he's supposed to be out like 3 to 4 weeks. So that is concerning to me. I don't expect Kamara to play. I would roll with Mark Ingram again in that situation. And then as far as Taysom Hill, not looking to throw him in my lineup this week. You got to see that full usage for as far as him playing a full game before you can actually throw him in your lineup. He becomes a Cam Newton situation. So I was going to ask you guys, would you start Cam Newton or Taysom Hill?
Taysom's not the starter.
Simeon
is. Cam is the starter.
Would you play Simeon or Cam Newton?
I'd probably play Simeon. Simeon actually almost made the waiver column. He made a honorable mention because he's actually done decent work for that offense, and he's been at least more consistent than Jameis Winston was, and that's probably why he's won the job. So this particular matchup, I don't know. The Eagles have been weird on defense. 1 week they're pretty good, the next week they're not. So I don't know that I'd be rolling them out there, but I definitely roll them out there over Cam.
Yeah. Simeon's averaging like over 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions over his last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to continue, but he's shown he can do it. And he showed he can do it again.
Definitely more confidence in him getting more snaps than Cam. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I feel all right about it there. I don't know how we feel, though, about New York Giants football players. We've got a lot of exciting ones who are doing a lot of not exciting things. But this week it could change. I want to get your take on this, Travis. Saquon Barkley was limited in Thursday's practice. That was just yesterday, and it was his first time he practiced this week. The word has been really encouraging about Saquon, but we're still not sure. So, guys, make sure you are, again, another plug for the 8:30 a.m. Pacific Time Sunday live lineup show. We're going to be doing what we're doing right here, but with more information closer to kickoff. It's an hour and a half before the morning games. So we got Saquon. We're going to stay tuned to that, Travis. We've also got Kadarius Toney is not on the injury report. We really, really like that. And Sterling Shepard, who's been exciting at points this season, remains sidelined, though, at practice dealing with a quad. Bodes extremely poorly for Shepard's odds of suiting up for Monday night's game. How does this impact, Golladay, Toney? What are your expectations for Saquon? If he's out, are you getting Booker back in?
Yeah, I mean, if Barkley's out, hopefully you have Booker and you're a Barkley owner, you'd be able to just slot Booker in. Unfortunately, it's a tough matchup for either of them against this really good front of Tampa Bay. But, they've been really susceptible in the passing game because teams have to throw a ton after Tampa Bay. So we wonder, can we get Tony? Can we get Golladay, both of which are off the injury report, into our lineups? I'm not going to do it. I like the matchup's really good. I just can't get behind starting either of them. And it's not really on them. For me, it's on Daniel Jones, who has been absolutely god-awful, and it doesn't matter who he's playing. In great matchups, he has been god-awful. In good matchups, or in bad matchups, he's been bad. He's just too inconsistent for me. The play is not there. And maybe that's not all on Daniel Jones because he's had a revolving door at the position of wide receiver this year, so he hasn't really had, and that line is not very good. But I'm not going to keep making excuses for the guy and in my fantasy football lineup in terms of who I'm starting here. So I'm getting out of, I'm stashing Kadarius Toney. I think, some end of the benches could have Golladay on there, given the amount of money they paid him this offseason. But for me, it's just not exciting, even in a good matchup this week.
Yeah, Ronald agrees. Don't trust any New York wide receivers.
But if you listen to the beat writers, Austin, they said, Saquon Barkley he was out there and he ran a route. He looks good to go. I thought that was the funniest update I read this morning. That's Barkley great. Running a route. He looks good to go. So actually the beat writers have a lot of confidence in him. So maybe he does go. We'll know a lot more Saturday. That's their last practice prior to Monday.
There we go. Staying in the NFC East, but moving from New York over to Philadelphia, Johnny, where running back for the Eagles, Miles Sanders, has been activated for return from the IR. Doesn't mean he's going to be in, though. Still recovering from that ankle. And Goddard here, Dallas Goddard, is going to likely play, dealing with the concussion, but he's recovering well. Probably going to be in. Any updates here to the fantasy implications for the Eagles for you, Johnny?
Yeah, definitely watch the Miles Sanders. It's something that I'm going to be monitoring, obviously, with Jordan Howard. He's been this was wild. Jordan Howard, since Miles Sanders has been out, even at PPR, has been RB14. And Jordan Howard hasn't caught a single catch out of the backfield. So that's kind of funny. That's how solid he's been since Miles Sanders went out with that injury. And so it'll be interesting to see if he is activated. Hopefully he is, and I would expect him to take that lead role again, but it's also a backfield that I want to see first if Sanders is active before I trust either one in my lineup. And then Goddard, with Dallas Goddard, if he plays, you're playing him.
Nice.
We have an update here. 49ers running back Elijah Mitchell will be doubtful to play Sunday per Shanahan.
Oh, doubtful.
Doubtful. So back to Stephen Drake's. Now we get a bump up there for Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, Jeff Wilson, of the three that he talked about before, I think I'd lean Carlos Hyde over Jeff Wilson. I know it doesn't
if Robinson's out.
Right, yeah, if Robinson's out. Only because I've seen it before this year. I do think, my gut is telling me Jeff Wilson's the backup based on the way they've used him and before and in the system. But, I think Hyde would be the nudge for me in between the two if both starters are out.
Mm-hmm. Keep an eye out, though, for James Robinson and how he plays or suits up for Sunday. Also, keep an eye on the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receivers. They've been kind of up and down and all around this season. We know Juju's out. Chase Claypool was out last week. He was limited in Thursday's practice. Mike Tomlin really didn't give much of an update to Claypool this week, besides noting that he would practice. We haven't been big. Well, I was a huge Claypool fan a while ago. We all know the pop that he can bring. He's almost like a new Mike Williams that's coming in, big-bodied, should be the number 2.
Oh, no, don't put that juju on him.
He's hurt. He's putting it on himself, bro. And it's just up and down. And anyway, so we like what we like Claypool could do. We need to see more of it. But we also talked about Travi, who were we talking about yesterday? The impact than this. Great name. Just went blank on the name here.
Not sure.
The other Steelers wide receiver.
Juju?
No.
Oh, Deontay Johnson? Ray McLeod?
No, there we go. Any consideration playing him if Claypool is out? Had a lot of work last week.
Oh, are you asking me? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're asking Johnny. I was waiting for Johnny.
Oh, no, sorry.
No, I wouldn't. Honestly, this is the strength of the Chargers defense. I know they've struggled recently, but the strength is on the outside against the wide receivers. So Deontay would be the only preferred play, whereas Pat Freiermuth would actually take a bump up because the Chargers really bad against tight ends because, again, good on the outside. They funnel targets to the inside. That's kind of how the defense has played out this year. Plus Freiermuth, even though he had a bad game, we talked about it. He let the ball loose, not just himself, did the Muth, but the tight end position gets home basically against the Chargers. So I like him over Ray McLeod. I like Deontay Johnson, of course, because of the volume, regardless of Ben or Mason Rudolph.
Agree with that. Moving on to the Seattle Seahawks, as we did already address the San Francisco 49ers with that update to Elijah Mitchell looking doubtful. But tune in on Sunday morning to get an up-to-date we'll give you an update with all the available information before kickoff, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. Johnny, I want to talk about the Seattle Seahawks. Got some running back issues. God, they've had them for years, it feels like. Alex Collins would be the fill-in for Chris Carson, but he did not practice yesterday due to a groin issue. It's a concern, though Collins followed this routine in weeks 8 before suiting up. So, more things to monitor, some precedents to consider. Then Chris Carson, he's been dealing with a neck, didn't practice parts this week. Would you want to start any Seattle Seahawk halfback?
Not this. Well, if Collins ends up playing, then I don't mind it.
Okay.
We've seen teams run on the Cardinals and they can't seem to tackle. So
and Collins did this already.
Right. So if Collins plays, then I'm playing Collins. The interesting thing to note here is Chris Carson has to be activated off of that IR window by next Saturday. If he doesn't do that, then he is done for the season. And there is a lot of rumors and things that are going, sources, beat writers and stuff that are reporting that they do expect him to actually not be able to be activated by that window and for him to be done for the rest of the season. So this is definitely something to monitor. If Alex Collins is on your waiver right now, or gets dropped because of this information, as far as him not practicing and things like that, I would actually pick him up because long term it could be a solid play. And then, but yeah, expect this to be, Penny, Dallas, just a carousel homer would also probably get some touches. And then in that case, I probably wouldn't trust any of them. But yeah, if Collins goes or is available on your waiver, it's someone to definitely pick up and stash right now, because I don't expect Chris Carson to come back.
I think that's a wise take on this one. We've got 3 teams to get through, and then we're going to be jumping into your questions. Whisper Nation, love having these ones pour in. Travis, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We got a couple of things to consider. Rob Gronkowski, dealing with a back, said the arrow's pointing up towards playing week 11 against the Giants. This isn't the first time we've heard optimistic words coming before a game, and then closer to the game he doesn't actually end up suiting up. And my goodness, the injuries this guy took on, I'm like, how can you even think you're coming back this soon? It's like, I got a punctured lung, but I got another one, so let's go. And I'm like, I don't know, breathing well is important, I thought. But so we got Gronk to consider. We've got Antonio Brown, who's probably not going to play. He's got a whole host of stuff going on, from his body to his vaccination card, and I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff with Antonio Brown. He's probably not playing. No. But what are your takes now on the rest of the pass catchers? Godwin had a foot, but it looks like that's not going to keep him off the field. How are you shaking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playmakers coming into week 11?
Yeah, it seems like there's for the most part with Tampa Bay, it's kind of like with Dallas this year. If those guys are going, you're kind of putting them in your lineup because they have the ability to get home. I mean, Gronk's been the tight end 3 in points per game in just the 4 appearances that he's in. So we like what he was able to do. Obviously, the touchdown upside is there. We've talked about them chasing records. I thought it was pretty funny. He was joking about workman's comp today at the podium. He's definitely in good spirits. We'll see what Friday's designation is, or Saturday's designation is. That's their last practice prior to Monday. But yeah, I think Johnny's made the point, earlier this week, if Gronk goes, you're playing him. I thought it would be smart to go and grab an Evan Ingram if you were streaming a tight end anyways, and you go and get Evan Ingram to play in place in case Gronk doesn't go. That would be kind of a situation I'd look at if that's available to you. But yeah, I think Gronk, if he goes, you're putting him in here. It's not like he's we advised last time when he came back from the lung, at least I advised not to put him in against New Orleans, because New Orleans has had Gronk's number. They just focus on stopping Gronk when he's when he's been with Tampa Bay. That's not the case with the Giants. The Giants are about middle of the road, 7 points per game to the tight end. So I'm not as scared in this matchup for Gronk. And I think, they're going to Monday. I'm telling you, man, it feels like a game where Brady is just going to want to beat the brakes off the Giants. Obviously lost to the Super Bowl 2 times to them, just lost to Washington.
Yeah.
He's not going to be happy. And I think this could be a really monster game for him and Gronk and everybody in that offense.
I love that take. I think that is what we're going to stick with. And Johnny, the Tennessee Titans are going to be sticking with Deontay Foreman and Adrian Peterson because Jeremy McNichols has a concussion and he's not going to play. I'm not excited for this in my dynasty team, but I am excited to see now what the backfield does with just 2 backs. I've been saying that with 3 in any situation, you avoid a backfield that has 3, but 2. That's the new world. That's almost a good thing. So how do you Deontay Foreman has been playing better, been playing more efficient, but Adrian Peterson was the exciting signing, and he got more work to start off, but ceded a little bit of that in his second appearance. What do you think in week 3 now with McNichols out between Foreman and Adrian Peterson?
Foreman is the guy I'm interested in. Peterson we got excited for Peterson because of his name. We know his reputation. And he is getting the first crack at those red zone target or the goal line work right now. But just when you look at and watch the film, like Foreman is way bigger than Adrian Peterson. And so I would be surprised if they didn't move that or make that switch sooner rather than later. And then you're also talking about passing down work. That's where Foreman should also be worked into the game plan. We know Peterson throughout his career hasn't been significant out of the backfield. So I do think against Houston, I do think that you can play Foreman as a flex. I think he's a RB3 with upside, depending on his actual workload. But he saw 12 carries last week, which led this backfield. And again, it was his second week as starting to kind of gain up on Adrian Peterson. So that he would be where I'd want to play if I needed a running back. I think it's a fine what the heck RB3 flex play.
I agree with that one. And Travi, we are on our last team here. It's the Washington football team. I just got to go ahead and address Scott's comments here. Travi is the Gronk fancy commenter. Not exactly, because he's got working lungs.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Wow, dude.
Working lungs for Travis.
It checks out. I liked the comp till he said not, I'm a Hall of Famer, parties hard, great looking, sponsored by Manscaped, spent time going to college in the state of Arizona. I mean, it all checks out to me.
Yeah, have you ever seen Gronk and Big Travi in the same room together?
I would challenge Gronk to a beer bong. I would do it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if he's listening to this, but if he is, I'd do it right here.
Speak it, man. LeVar Ball that right now. We're gonna get that.
Dude.
We're gonna get a beer bong. Big Travi and Gronk are gonna beer bong out one time. We're gonna make that happen.
Dude, that would be epic.
I'm imagining right now, like in my mind's eye.
That would be literally epic if we could do that.
Moving on to our final
one in Vegas. That's
shit. That's the plan.
Yes.
Let's make it happen. Let's speak that one into existence. Maybe get LeVar Ball there too. That would be hilarious. So we've got the Washington football team without tight ends. It seems like Ricky Seals-Jones. He got banged up in last week's game, dealing with a hip, wasn't practicing on Wednesday, and Logan Thomas did not return to practice on Wednesday. He's been on the IR. It doesn't look like either of these tight ends are going to be active. I wouldn't recommend the third tight end option, but possibly a bump maybe for Terry McLaurin. I don't think this changes any of your fantasy decisions, though, right? Like if you're starting Terry McLaurin, you're not touching him based on this news. If you were starting Ricky Seals-Jones, you got to go a different direction now. But whatever you were doing with Gibson, you're still doing. And that's about it here. Am I missing anything, Travi?
No, and obviously RSJ was taken out of last week's game, so I don't think he was really on our streaming radar. We probably dumped him for a different streamer, so hopefully that's what you did, Whisper Nation. You're moving on to a different option here. I did want to make a note here because Deandre Carter was a guy that we talked about in the waiver column. Now, I'm not playing him this week. Carolina really good on the outside, especially after they went and got Stephon Gilmore, so they've really been even better on the outside here. It doesn't really concern us obviously we temper expectations for Terry McLaurin, but I don't think we're starting DeAndre Carter here. I think he is still a stash I'd like to see, but Curtis Samuel, we've got a Curtis Samuel sighting.
Right.
He's been working out today, and he is questionable for this week. So just things to watch in the Washington passing attack, not really stuff we're going to be starting this week.
You legitimately, I love that. Curtis Samuel, don't sleep on Curtis Samuel. He's been dealing with a groin for a long time, but Curtis Samuel is a football player, and One, I'm excited to see what he can do as long as he's healthy. So that should be good. Guys, we just got through. We are through the news and notes of around the NFL, and now we get to my favorite part of the show. That's Whisper Nation's questions. So Whisper Nation, man, thanks for joining with us. And if you've enjoyed what you're listening to and you're not subscribed, think about it. It might make your life better. But if you like this video, just hit us with that thumbs up. It helps us grow the channel and do what we love doing so very much. Like, we got cool GIFs on this show. We got the thumbs up, like we play along with all the fun things here. So let's get to the questions, boys. If you want to help me to get through some of these questions as we're scrolling through, starting back up at the top, I wouldn't hate you for it.
We got this one.
Which one?
Oh, well, you just
What up, Austin?
What up, Austin? But I love this. Don't always start your studge. I like this one. This is good hashtag.
Especially if your studs are the only option on a bad offense playing against Bill Belichick.
Yeah, not good. You can't set them up any better than that usually.
Sup, boys? David asking David Harris. Super Cam paired with CMC or Kyler?
We're definitely going Kyler if he plays.
I'd go Colt McCoy over Cam.
Over Kyler? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Even if Kyler's active.
Yeah.
No.
So we obviously got an update from Mitchell saying, that he's out. So we're again, add Jeff Wilson, as Truly Epic says here. That would be my estimation. I'd say I'm 90% sure Jeff Wilson's going to get the load that you want in this game. So
Nick asking no Ertz for the Ertz would be a start for me. If Kyler plays, I would definitely like to play Ertz this week.
What if everybody doesn't play? And Hopkins is out. Would you like Ertz in this matchup? With or without Kyler?
I would just because of the landscape of
Ertz or Freiermuth.
I'm going Ertz.
Ertz or Conklin.
Ooh, that one's it. Probably
You'd go Ertz over Freiermuth? Really?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, against
I'd go Freiermuth.
Would you?
Chargers are a top 5 defense to go against the tight end. And Freiermuth got his most targets last week with Mason Rudolph, 9 targets last week. Now he did have a bad game, but I think that he can get a lot better this week.
And the last 4, I would go with I like what Ertz will need to do if Kyler is in the game. Only if Kyler doesn't go, then I'm with you. I would go Freiermuth.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought we were talking about here. Okay. Let's see.
Carolina D is a good start this week. I wouldn't drop them. Okay.
Yeah. Washington, that's a good spot.
We answered Mr. Miyagi's here. We'd be putting Khalil Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Rest of season, Elijah Moore or Kadarius Toney. Also Bateman or Deontay Foreman at flex. Thanks, Smokey the Cat.
Oh man, this is tough. The mystery box and Toney really gets me excited, but Moore is actually doing it on the field right now, which is tough to go away from.
Johnny, you've liked them both. You've had emotional upticks for both Elijah Moore and Kadarius Toney. Who do you like more?
I'm with Trey. I would rather go Toney, just because. No, sorry. I would rather go if I'm.
I didn't make a call, so you are with me because you're back and forth as well.
No. Here's the thing. If I had to say who I thought was going to have the better production, I would probably say they have a more solid fantasy outlook rest of the season. It's going to be Elijah Moore because he's not competing with so many people for targets. Yes, Corey Davis, but
Braxton Berrios.
Yeah, right. But with Kadarius Toney, I was much higher on him because we weren't sure about the Gallup injury or the Golladay injury. We had the Sterling Shepard injury that looked to be significant. It came back that it wasn't as significant as they thought. So
Shepard's going to be out, I think, of this game. It's what it's looking like. He's
this game, right? But it was rest of the season. So it's just rest of the season. I don't Tony's going to have to fight for targets a lot harder than Moore will. But I will say that I think Tony's upside is way higher than Elijah Moore's. So I personally would probably place mine on Tony, but I think Elijah Moore is very, very intriguing too. Like I like them both.
I'm going to look up the strength of schedule for those guys.
Yeah, that would be
well, Big Travie is taking a look at the strength of schedule.
Jets are always going to be behind, so that's one thing we know.
So it's Russell or Tua, Johnny? Smokey the Cat's got to know.
Smokey the Cat, dude. I love that name.
I know. I'm a sucker for cat names, but Smokey the Cat's it's good too. That's like good.
See, this one's really, really close for me. I think I'm going to go with Tua. I love the matchup for Tua. It's not a terrible matchup for Russell. No, Russell always has her. No, I would go Russell. Give me Russell. I know he struggled last week. Another week, Cardinals have been getting torched as far as from wide receivers the last few weeks. I do think that Russell has a really good game. I would go Tua or go Russell.
All right.
But his downside is way lower than Tua's this week.
Not lying there. Travie, does Amari Cooper ever get more relevant this season?
Yeah, I think he's going to stay on the wide receiver 2 borderline pretty much the rest of the season. If he can get a little bit healthier, which is, they've already had their bye, so it might be a little tough. They are going to play on Thursday next week, so maybe a mini bye, I'm just looking for ways to kind of, he's dealing with a hamstring this year, so I think that's limiting him a little bit. We'll see what this offense does with now CD in the slot and Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper on the outside. If that's able to draw more attention defensively, maybe this offense takes another step even further efficiency-wise. I do like the rest of season schedule where Zeke's schedule gets a little bit tougher. It tightens up in the back half of the season. The wide receivers have a really nice strength of schedule for the rest of the year. So I do think it starts this week against Kansas City. I do think he's going to have pop games, but if you're interested in getting rid of him and piecing him together with somebody else for a really good RB2, RB1 down the stretch, that's fine. If you're looking to try and get more of a consistent wide receiver, I don't mind that either. To me, he's getting kind of in the Tyler Lockett zone. He's getting into the point where he's going to have lower games, and then he's going to have games that will pop for you as well. And I think that's just again, I've said it a couple weeks now. He's like the poor man's Mike Evans right now.
Who I like the Mike Evans comp on there. The one feather I'll put in the cap is if the injury is still healing and he doesn't re-aggravate it, then he's just going to be able to perform better once he's more healthy, and that's just going to take time. And so rest of season he could be, but he also could re-aggravate it, and then that would really bring him back there. So keep an eye. But I agree. I love that Mike Evans comp there. Slightly regressed. I want to know, should Mr. Miyagi drop Freeman or Collins for Jamal Williams, Johnny? He did pick up Herbert for Carolina defense. Drop Devonta Freeman or Alex Collins for Jamal Williams.
I wouldn't do this.
I'd keep both of those guys over Jamal Williams.
Yeah, I would too.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Like Jamal Williams isn't a pop player. It's not like he's a Kareem Hunt.
But I think, did Mr. Miyagi say he has DeAndre Swift? So that was his question but I think I would still rather.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this position, in this particular situation, I don't think it matters, Johnny, only because I think Freeman has a real opportunity here rest of season to establish himself as the guy for Baltimore. Collins has already done that in Carson's absence. And it hasn't been pretty, but 10 or more carries in basically every game since week 4. Jamal Williams is going to have games, I think, as he gets back healthy, but they're not going to be as frequent as those two guys, I think.
Yeah. All right. Whisper Nation, some great questions coming in. It's great to have the afternoon spent with you. If you guys like what you're listening to, consider hitting us with a subscribe and a thumbs up on your way out. Johnny, Carlos Pena's got to know, half-point PPR, pick one wide receiver, one flex. Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, Jeff Wilson, no Mitchell, Hunter Renfrow, Deonta Foreman, Darnell Mooney. Leaning more for wide receiver and either Mooney without A-Rob or JWJ.
I'm definitely playing McLaurin. And one flex. I would play. I think wait, hold on.
And more. Travie, if you have strong insights on this one, please share them with me.
Half-point pick.
I think Renfrow is like a solid play here in a half PPR. But he doesn't have as high of upside to me as like Mooney does. Or Jeff Wilson, but Jeff Wilson is going against actually Jacksonville, bottom 5 in fantasy points allowed to running backs. So if Mitchell is out, then I would probably just bank on that workload and again with Wilson, I would think that he would get it. But again, the floor play for me and what I would probably roll with would be Renfrow and McLaurin in this case.
Yeah, McLaurin's the auto start. I guess you'd be kind of deciding between the upside of DJ Moore getting volume or Renfro's floor, and then Wilson's obviously projected volume with it. I think I'm going to go with the back because Wilson did show us receiving work last year. He was an RB2 again, showed us really good rushing and receiving work when what's his name? Raheem Mostert went down last year, so Wilson came in, was an RB2, finished the year. I actually like Wilson. He's a big-bodied guy. They use him in the red zone, or they're going to use him in the goal line probably no matter what, and then he's probably going to be the guy they use in the receiving game, especially with Hasty likely out here.
We haven't said this man's name at all, but we've talked a ton on the San Francisco 49ers. Trey Sermon. Any hesitation with his possible appearance? No. So it's
no. I think Kyle Shanahan is just finding ways to not play Trey Sermon. Like
sure,
it is for sure been his MO. And I don't even think it's like Ayuk where he wants to get back to Sermon eventually. I don't think he likes Sermon at all.
We didn't mention Deonta Foreman's name here, but I think he's almost got like sneaky flex appeal for me with Adrian Peterson out because I could see a world where he gets 15 touches and they play well.
I think he'll play McNichols' role. And in PPR, I think he's going to have some flex appeal for sure this week. I wonder how much of, between Tannehill running it in or Adrian Peterson getting goal line work is his ceiling capped this week as far as that's concerned for those guys. So
I don't disagree with any of that. Eagle Fang needs to know Pollard or Wilson Jr.
Well, if Mitchell's out, it would be Wilson Jr. for me.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Let's see. We're working through.
Did we do this one? Anna asked start Mooney or Bateman.
Who?
I would go.
I'd go Bateman. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be the odd one. I'd go Mooney. I'll just take the upside. I like the big playability.
Okay.
Bateman has some pretty big upside.
Bateman's been consistent, and he's definitely, he's got some upside in that offense. I believe they're still number one in yards per attempt are the Baltimore Ravens. So
I feel you on that, but I still see Bateman as the third option as Mooney's the number one. And if Justin Fields after the bye continues his uptick in his rookie year, like I just like that ceiling of Darnell Mooney coming that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, higher floor with Bateman, no doubt.
Let's see. Oh, Scott asking you guys this one. Need help. Would you go?
Amari Cooper tested positive for COVID-19.
Oh, he did?
Wow.
Just happened now?
So Gallup.
Ooh, Gallup now a sneaky flex.
Big Travis going to pick him up right now.
No, he's not.
Oh, we checked. He was gonna go.
Shit, is he picked up everywhere? Well, yeah. Travis probably wouldn't have announced the news before he had taken a peek.
Yeah.
Or he shouldn't have. Yeah, little shout out before you share news with your chat. Check your waiver wire and then let them all know. Like that's the correct way to do this.
So here we have so this is a question. Firmly in the playoffs and have Taylor as a second back with Thielen and AB. Trade Monty and Amari Cooper for Pittman, Ridley, and Hunt. I said I wouldn't do this.
I wouldn't do it either. Even with the Amari Cooper news, if you're firmly in the playoffs, I like Amari Cooper's ceiling, especially he could be healing. Maybe this COVID is going to give him a chance to let his leg heal up even more. So maybe come weeks 15, 16, and 17, this is going to be a good thing that ended up happening. David Montgomery, we expect more and more good stuff out of him. And like Pittman, I like Pittman, but I don't like him as much as Amari Cooper. Calvin Ridley, I don't know. This guy might not play this entire season, and I'm taking Monty over Kareem Hunt.
Yep, I agree with that. This was your advice to him yesterday, right, Johnny? And he's asking for a consensus on it. Yeah. I'm in lockstep with you guys as well. So
okay. Oh, damn, good thing I didn't drop Collins. I was about to. Oh man, that feels so good. It sucks when you drop him right before you get some news. Better to be on this side. Let's see. Here's Collins playing. Let's wait and see. Tune into the Sunday Live Lineup Show an hour and a half before kickoff. And if you subscribe to the Fantasy Whispers on YouTube and hit the bell, you'll get automatically notified when Johnny and Travis go live on Sunday. Let's see.
Trying to look through all these.
Yeah, we're getting to the bottom here, I think.
Searching for questions.
Searching for cues. Oh, Ronald at the shadow. Hey, 17 people, 12 likes. Which of you 5
call them out?
That's funny. It cracks me up. You don't have to like us for us to like you. We like you anyways, but we do appreciate it if you hit us with a thumbs up. Ooh, good question here.
Fournette or AJ Dillon? Asks. Obesity speaks.
I'm so thirsty to see AJ Dillon in this role. Like, I don't know if that's just because I'm a Packers fan.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to go Dillon because Dillon is more likely to be the focal point of his offense. Even
like
if
the vein, he's the main vein.
Even if Fournette does have a good game, he's never going to be the guy that they're relying on to win the game. Like AJ Dillon is going to be the Packers offense most likely in this game. And
they're going to try to make it that way.
I would just say he has the higher upside and the higher floor in this game. So
I like that take. Oh, what happened with Carson? Chris Carson news. Dealing with a neck. Hasn't stopped. Won't stop. Gotta drop.
Can't stop. Won't stop. His neck won't stop.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Oh yeah, Mr. Miyagi saying that he had Swift. So, but yeah, I still would keep those other ones.
Yeah, that's like one of those things where it's like it's not a clean fill, and it's not like a Tony Pollard.
Especially all the work we've had the Zeke. couple guys pop up for the Lions. In they may not be as prone to give Williams that role if Jamar Jefferson flashed enough. I know it was in limited action, but there's still more names added now. That's all.
Exactly. Yeah. So refer to the previous set of advice. We got this one. We didn't answer this one. Barclay or Jacobs?
I'm going Barclay if he plays. We'll know more Saturday. But
yeah. Drake is starting to impact a little bit too. Hey, C.
Well, and the thing is we don't. Sorry, didn't mean to cut off. We don't like that matchup, right? We don't like the Tampa Bay matchup, but Vita Vea is not going to play, and that's a huge run-stopping, plugged-up hole in the middle of their defensive line. So that could really open things up for the run game.
Good point. Hello there. Redraft. Full point PPR. Give Tyreek. Get Kamara, Claypool, and CEH. Ooh. You get Kamara, Claypool, and you get Kamara and CEH. Claypool, whatever, for Tyreek Hill.
Give up Tyreek and full point PPR. I don't like taking CEH and Kamara here and giving up Reek. Like I know it's a lot you're getting in return, but Kamara, man, we don't have any clue what this injury really is.
Yeah.
And then CEH, he may rest, as Johnny said, then the bye next week. So you're taking 2 weeks you can't use CEH. I actually don't like this deal. I mean, I know you're getting the bye, you're getting rid of the bye with Tyreek, but in PPR, he's the number 1 wide receiver, I think, right now, still, right? So,
you know what this is, man? This is when you're trying on an outfit that you pull off the rack and you really, really like it. You're like, this is cool, and you put it on. You're like, it just doesn't fit right, but I like it so much, I'm going to buy it anyways. And then you're like, every time you look at it in your closet, you're like, I don't want to wear it because it doesn't fit right. And Kamara looks nice, right? But he's not going to be starting for you if he's not starting for the Saints. And they've been so murky about this. He's a super sexy, shiny piece to see on your roster. And you have CEH. You're like, yeah, this is going to be so cool. But there's a world where this all falls through. And if Johnny's points and Darrell Williams stand true and he's the receiving back, that's going to have a huge impact on CEH, his overall workload, because he may or may not get the goal line work. Then he wouldn't get the passing work. If they're healthy, I love it. But we just don't know if they will be. So it's tough to take that gamble.
Keenan or Devonta? Full PPR.
Devonta Smith?
I'm going
Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
I like Keenan Allen. They're similar, but Keenan Allen's got a better offense.
So Keenan Allen or Darrell if CEH sits?
I would be going Keenan Allen. Dallas actually a really good run defense, mostly because they're a pass funnel, but they're really good against the run. Bottom 5 against the run.
Yeah, I'd go Keenan Allen.
All right.
All right, Whisper Nation, I appreciate you guys. I got to hop off. I'll let Austin and Johnny take the rest of these questions. Love all y'all. Peace. We'll see you.
Much love, man. Happy birthday.
Peace. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Happy birthday, Big Trappy. Happy birthday.
Later,
all right.
Tardes. You guys rock. You rock, Tomas. McLaurin or Gallup for wide receiver 2. Browns or Bucks defensive special teams. Gracias. McLaurin or Gallup? McLaurin.
Yeah, I would go. I love McLaurin's matchup this week. I would go, but the news with Amari Cooper, you might be able to get Gallup in your lineup depending on who you have.
Yeah, Gallup's nice now.
We got this one, flex PPR, Lockett versus AJ Dillon. Going AJ Dillon.
I like AJ Dillon. He's going to get work catching passes too.
Schultz goes back to a tight end 1 now with Lamar. I think we could
He's
probably also see Tony Pollard also get a little bit more usage again.
Yeah, Schultz is he's a tight end. He's a back end tight end 1 always, and that's going to be like that, 40 to 65 yards with 4 to 6 catches most likely.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be your answer. He's not going to be your problem.
Choose one from my flex, asks Hector. My opponent is projected to score 147 full PPR and projected to score 127. Don't worry about projections. They are usually always way, 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 way wrong. Yeah. Hollywood Brown or Jalen Waddle or Mark Ingram. I'm going Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown should have a mega boss day.
Yeah, as long as we don't get any negative news about his recovery. Yeah, I like that as well.
We got
high floor for Mark Ingram, though.
Yeah. I would probably try to get him in my lineup too. Okay, boys, Gallup or Bateman or Collins.
I'm liking Gallup. I'm liking Gallup more with Amari Cooper out. I just I don't like a damaged Alex Collins. Rashad Bateman and Michael Gallup for me are really, really close. They're both on good offenses. They both should be that number 2 role. We've seen Bateman perform decently well. Hasn't been amazing. Gallup has a longer history, but has been injured more recently. My logic is still pointing Gallup. My recency bias points Bateman, and Bateman's more exciting to me. But I'm struggling to say if Gallup's healthy and he gets the opportunity and we know what he's capable of, how is Bateman a better choice?
Yeah, I'm going Gallup with this news, and I would trust Dak over Lamar to get the ball.
Yeah, especially if Lamar's sick too.
Yeah,
that can have a little impact.
Yeah. We got Eagle Fang asking trade Melvin Gordon and Van Jefferson for Elijah Mitchell. Yes,
I think so. Melvin Gordon's fine, but I think he's gonna get less and less as the season progresses. And Elijah Mitchell, once he's healthy, is a back end RB1.
Yep, I would do this. Whoops, sorry. We got Forgive Jonah. Appreciate you checking in here. Should I trade Adams for Lamb and DJ Moore?
How much better is Adams than Lamb? I'm taking Adams over Lamb, but not much. Not much.
I would do this because you're getting Lamb, and I think better days are ahead for DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore's an
if you need the wide receiver help, fine. But if DJ Moore still is going to be a bench warmer for you, then I wouldn't, because you're still just starting then Lamb or Adams, and while it's close, Adams still gets the nod for me.
Yeah, fair point. That's a very good point. AB asking Claypool or Mooney this week.
Breaks my heart to say Mooney.
I'm going Mooney. Yeah, that one.
I want to take Claypool. It's not.
Getting asked, where does Waddle rank rest of season? I like him, especially with Tua as the quarterback. Tua really targets him, 12 times a game when Tua is quarterbacking. So I think he is, a projected top. I would say he's a top 30, top 32 wide receiver.
Permanent flex.
In PPR. Yeah.
Permanent flex.
With obviously wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1 upside on occasional weeks because we've seen him drop 2 touchdowns in a game, and then he's a wide receiver 1. So
still just a low yards per catch though, and still a rookie. Yeah. So that's I not take him out of my flex. No matter the matchup, no matter what, I'd ride those highs and lows with Waddle in my flex.
Yeah. Rank Knox or Pitts or Dan Arnold for the rest of the season, which have the best upside if I only keep one?
Pitts.
Yeah, I'm going Pitts number 1, Knox 2, Dan Arnold 3, and I think Pitts has the highest upside because of how they use him. I know last night he got blanketed, but again, he was against New England. That's what Bill Belichick does. He takes away your best option, especially with Ridley. We don't know when he's coming back. So, but again, these are some I would try to trade Knox if you have him, and you can get some nice something good in return that could really help you. My wide receiver 2 is Ayuk. Yeah, so I do think better.
DJ Moore.
Yeah. So I would do this deal, and I do think that Ayuk will have some better days. There are some metrics that are showing upticks for him.
That's a nice 1, 2, 3. I would be CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. And then Ronald, Pitts is the best upside, but then Knox and Arnold have the safest floor. The problem is like Knox's floor, is it really that safe because he's super touchdown dependent? So I don't know if it's necessarily as safe as we think it is. Whereas like Pitts, again, he is seeing a pretty healthy amount of targets, a pretty healthy amount of yardage. And he's heavily being utilized in the red area. Again, Atlanta Falcons aren't looking spectacular or like an offense that you're rushing to get. But again, he's going to be the main focal point of that offense. And so I would take that. Like, that's what we were asking for and wanting from Hawkinson, TJ Hawkinson, and that's what he has. So I would give, you have a better quarterback in Matt Ryan than what Hawkinson has. So I don't disagree 100% with you wanting, or if someone wanted to be like, yo, I'd rather have Knox over Pitts, because you might be able to actually get a little bit more for Pitts, maybe not coming off this game, but just in the future, or and overall upside. A lot of people do see it and like it, and so you might be able to get a little bit more, and so it's fine if you want to fall back on Knox, but I would take Pitts.
And I'd say, Knox was a little bit inflated too. Like, he had a really, really great run, but it wasn't crazy volume. And there's still a lot of other pieces, and it's just gonna be tough to bank on it. Like, I like him as an option, but I'm not gonna lean on him heavily. I don't think the Bills are gonna lean on him heavily either.
Should we have any worries when it comes to CMC rest of season? Just re-aggravation of that hamstring injury, but again, he was fine. He was pulled off the injury report, so that's good news here. Sorry, I missed this one, Austin.
Trade Hopkins.
Yeah.
Is this one? Yeah.
What's up, Eric? I would do this. Yes, I would do this deal.
I think so too. Just David Montgomery is like a back end RB1, high end RB2, and that's like kind of what Hopkins is. Maybe a little bit further along when he's active, but he's a wide receiver versus running back. I like it.
And schedule gets much easier for Monty moving forward. Max Cable on Twitch. What's up?
What's up, Max?
AJ Dillon and Mike Williams for Joe Mixon and Keenan Allen. I would not do this at all.
No, I don't think so
at all.
Is Chubb the best player of the mix here?
Yes.
Joe Mixon's close. Like, it's not a for sure. Like, Joe Mixon's been playing really, really well, but Nick Chubb
has. But again,
I love Nick Chubb too.
But they're like, this next month of games for Joe Mixon is going to be a brutal set of games. He has a very difficult schedule. He's been working off the easiest schedule of any running back so far. I'm not saying Joe Mixon is trash or anything like that, but Nick Chubb, I would not be trying. Nick Chubb has one of the best running back schedules moving forward on an offense that, look, they are not.
He's the vein.
And look, is Baker? They need to get Baker healthy. So if they're going to have a run in the playoffs, so there you could see once Hunt comes back, don't be surprised if they really, really go run heavy, especially going into these winter months. So again, the usage for me would be for Chubb. And
I just go to he's the main vein of the team. Joe Mixon is good and he's leaned on, but it's Joe Burrow and the passing attack.
Yeah.
All
right, that does it. We made it.
Man.
Appreciate you, Eric. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe, hit that thumbs up for us. I appreciate it. Saw you guys got 50 likes on yesterday's video. That's what I'm talking about.
31, but we were pushing.
But now, now.
Oh shit, really?
I think it's up there. Someone jumped in the chat and said 50 yesterday's video is up to 50 likes. So
hell yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Shit. All right.
There we go.
Well, Johnny, man, this has been a lot of fun. Can't wait for this weekend. Whisper Nation, can't wait to be seeing you on Sunday morning for the live lineup show. Johnny and Travis are going to be going over all of your lineup questions an hour and a half before kickoff. That is 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. And my last plug here, you got that Joe Mixon jersey. We just talked a lot about Joe Mixon, how good he's been. You got the jersey here. Whisper Nation, you got a chance to win this signed NFL jersey. All you got to do is join our Patreon at the $10 level. And what that does is get you bonus content. It puts you in the drawing, though, for some automatic giveaways, meaning there's no opt-in. You're automatically opted in for sports card giveaways, as well as once a month signed jersey giveaways that we do our spin the wheel and select the winner on the first Monday reaction show. It's on Monday Night Football of the month. And I'll give you this little secret here right now. There's not a ton of people in our $10 Patreon. I mean, it's growing, but as of right now, there's not a grip. So what that means is you have a really, really good shot at winning the jersey at a real bargain. You know, if you put in there and you join at the $10 level and you're in there for a year, that's $120, but chances say you will be selected to win that jersey in the course of 12 months. And then you just got a signed premium autographed NFL jersey for $120 while getting to support the show, get all this extra content, and maybe you win some sports card draw giveaways at the same time. So it's a pretty darn good setup. And so I encourage you to check it out. Patreon.com, search for The Fantasy Whispers. Johnny, did I miss anything?
No, that was perfect. That was great.
All right. Well, on behalf of Johnny Game Time Hicks, Big Travie, and myself, Austin Sear, we're The Fantasy Whispers. Good luck this weekend. We're out.
Peace.
Peace.
Join us on Discord.
Bye-bye.
Right here.
Look at you go. You made it to the end of another one of our videos. Hey, if you still have some questions, I totally understand. Or you just want to join an awesome fantasy football community, head on over to our Discord chat. Link is in the description below. And if you're still not sold on us, check out one of these videos.